Hey, what's up, guys? Nez Hoover here, Barsloaded, episode 5 podcast with the infamous CoachT.
What's up?
We asked several questions over the past couple weeks, and we got several of them in now, and we're going to go over them, talk about training, talk about how T got his start, and, basically just kind of shoot the shit.
Yeah, definitely.
So, first off, I know everyone knows who you are, but if you want to kind of give a little background on yourself, how'd you get your start in lifting?
Oh, cool. Yeah. So, when I started, like I always say this, it's always hard to talk about something that I love to do so much without having to tell little stories. So, without taking up all the time, I'm gonna kind of just give a brief run about how I got started in lifting in general. People always ask me how long I've been doing it. Christ, when I was thinking about it, if you think about it, it could be close to 30 years. I don't know. I mean, shit, I'm 55 years old. But anyway, I actually first started lifting weights when I was like right around 15 years old, 16, when I, for high school preseason wrestling, got introduced to the weight room then. And but if you want to go back further than that, you can, I started lifting my uncle's weights in my grandma's garage. She lived next door to us, and I used to get sore all the time. I thought it was cool as shit, and stuff. But anyway, I used to call my friends, and nobody ever wanted to lift with me. I just did it. I was the only one that had love for it. Anyway, moving on into high school, preseason wrestling. I got to do it that one season for wrestling. I loved it. I actually loved it more than the sport. That's where I actually really fell in love. And then going to my sophomore year, in the summer, the football coach wanted to start a weightlifting program. He was like way ahead of his time. His name was Coach T. I was all into that because it was weights, and of course wanted to get better at football, whatever. But he started he started us lifting, and of course after a while everybody kind of got bored, and except me and a few guys, and even the few guys got bored, and I ended up kind of being his workout partner, his training partner, and he taught me a lot, and just, and I owe him a lot. One day I'd like to thank him. That's on my bucket list. Definitely before I go somewhere, before I pass away, hopefully I can talk to him before he gets too old. But anyway, he started me lifting then, and then one of my training buddies lived next door to a guy who was actually a power lifter. He was a little bit older than us, and he goes, "You guys need to be going down to the Y." And the Y at the time used to be an old retired high school, which was called Albuquerque High. Anybody from here knows that high school, the old Albuquerque High in Central. It's a cool ass building. Anyway, in the basement was a badass weight room, and they used to actually call that the dungeon. I didn't know that until I started going there. When I first walked in there, I go, holy shit! It was full of jacked ass, hardcore motherfuckers, and I still remember some of their names: Fitzpatrick, Henry. These jacked ass dudes and strong as fuck, and there's certainly nothing I'd ever seen before. They had deadlift platforms, power racks. It was definitely a cool ass gym, even by today's standards. So started training in there with a couple of my buddies. I used to get whoever would go with me, and sometimes I'd go by myself. And then I'd start training. I learned how to deadlift, squat, of course, not even how to squat great yet, but it was definitely my introduction to the sport. Those guys used to compete even back then, and bodybuild. There was bodybuilders in there. But it was that hardcore, old school atmosphere that you can only really see in magazines nowadays or in some old movies. But we had that here, and so I started doing that, and never competed at that age. I continued weightlifting. My neighbor across the street and I building the weight room. I took my weight sets over there, so I'd go to the Y. I'd go there. Sometimes I'd lift 3 times a day. I just couldn't get enough of it. Kept going from there. Went to the military, still lifted, got out, and when I got out, I was about 24, 25. A buddy of mine, Scott Prudo, brought me back into training with him, and he was kind of into powerlifting, wasn't really competing at the time, but he introduced me to it, and got hooked up with my other buddy, Leonard Rue, who was competing, and we started competing. That's when I was about 26. Started doing it, and I kept going up until, I don't know, about maybe 32-ish, and when I decided to step down from the sport. I didn't actually ever get to finish what I really wanted to do, but I chose to be a dad because my son was born that year, and that was certainly way more important than, lifting weights. And so, I'm not gonna talk about what I could have, should have done. I can talk about what my best lifts were. At like 198, I squatted 700 raw. 220s, I squatted 750 raw, and I still had more, but like I said, I'm not gonna even say, I would have, should have, could have done, and I could have been great. I'm not gonna brag on that. I don't know what I could have done. Hopefully it would have been great. And I stopped doing it, raised my son for a while. I ended up getting divorced, my first marriage. That didn't work out. Why? Because of powerlifting. My marriage is basically ruined because of powerlifting. Just the way it was. I love the sport that much. I have no regrets either. It is what it is. I have no regrets. If I had to do it over again, I don't think I'd change anything. I love this sport. I love what I did. Anyway, that's what happened. I stayed away from the sport for a while. Decided to go back because I was getting depressed. I wasn't lifting, and long story short, I met a guy named Jade Garcia, who happens to be one of our partners in the gym. I was introduced to him by a friend of mine. Everybody should know she's a local celeb in the Iron Game in this town. Jessica Rinaldi. She's done a lot for the sport. She ended up introducing me and Jade. We started training, and then things happened from there. And I started coaching at the high school. We were wrestling. I started, doing the strength conditioning. Along with that, that was actually definitely my forte. And I started doing that, and I started studying athletes and learning and doing more and more, and that brought me to introduction of another partner, Jordan Chavez, who at the time was probably 11, 12?
12 years old.
12 years old, and he's actually our other partner in the Zia Strength Systems. So he's been training. He started training with us, and then of course that introduced me to his brother Nez Hoover, we call Shuby. We started, and we brought some other guys. We had some other guys, Freddie Wu, SD. We started a little group there, and we just trained where we could. And then as I was coaching, of course I started getting privilege and access to the school gym, which I eventually was given the opportunity to rebuild completely. We got some funds to rebuild that through one of the other athletic administrators, and they gave us 50 grand. So I ordered power racks, reverse hypers, a bunch of other shit. We built that gym. It was cool as shit, man. I don't know. What do we have? Like eight, 9 power racks?
Cool, yeah.
Yeah, it was a Samsung system. It was cool as shit. So from there, we started bringing athletes in from the school. And, and that's something Rio Grande has never had. Not to that level anyway. I know that for a fact. I don't
know if anyone's really had that in this area.
No, I'd be surprised if everybody had this in Albuquerque. We had 40, 50 kids, in the weight room. We had blasting rap music, strongman every Fridays outside, pulling sleds, you name it. We had puking, we had the whole 9 yards going. It was definitely, we definitely changed the culture here in the South Valley, especially, and the kids, they were off the streets all summer, and they were in the weight room. Who does that? Who has the opportunity to do that? Right now, we changed the culture, and one thing I'm blessed inside that I had the opportunity to be a part of those kids' life, and especially as they were growing, and hopefully they'll carry this on with them, and we eventually got thrown out of the high school gym. I'm not gonna get into details. No big deal. It wasn't for anything bad that we did. It was some political new coach coming in who didn't like his athletes training with us. He wanted the athletes, and he didn't know what the fuck he was doing. But I'm not gonna talk bad about him. It's not before.
Except tell him that he doesn't know what the fuck he's doing.
Except he doesn't know what the fuck he's doing. If you ever sees it or hears this.
I think that guy. I think he went like 2-18 in 2 years. So.
Yeah, shit. They didn't do shit. Anyway, we started. We left there and we said, shit, we gotta open our gym. We can't stop this stuff, And so we ended up opening Zia Strength Systems, and it's me, Jade, Shuby, Jordan, us four. We opened up the gym, and that's Zia Strength Systems, and we're still doing this stuff. I came out of retirement to compete for these guys one more time. I went to compete at Super Training, which was cool. I even competed in multiply gear. It was cool, but that's pretty much in a roundabout way. That's what I've been doing. I'm still doing this. I'm 55 years old, and I still love this shit, and these guys keep me young. I don't take the challenges like I used to from them because I just don't get hurt no more. But that's pretty much my story, It's what happened, kind of,